Welcome to Zelda Speedruns. We have for you from the Zelda 2 Randomizer Max Rando Tournament 2025 a Round 1 Game 2 matchup between Angel Nimbus and BKPKT Patrick. I am VT Slacker. I'll be your restreamer and tracker for this race, and I'll pass it over to our commentator Elendar. Take it away.
Hey, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. It's still midday-ish wherever you are. It should be a good one kicking off in just a bit here. We're game 2. Patrick won the first game, but like always in Max Rando, absolutely anything can happen to anyone at any time. We've seen some real blitzers. We've seen some absolute 3-hour-long slogs. And we're going to see one of those potentially here today. We could just get a nice, fine, middling seed like we saw earlier. Like the one constant we've seen so far in a number of races today is just some really nasty GPs. Definitely a possibility, but we'll find out just a second as we kick off roughly how bad this seed is going to be. And 2 lives is definitely the start of a bad one, but 6 hearts to start, not too long. We're going to play some 2 gems today, so with 2 lives, 2 gems, you gotta be a little bit careful about experience. Both runners have the any key. We'll see if anyone actually wants to do P2. Decide against it. And an immediate divergence in what looks like a vanilla-like west. Angel Nimbus going all the way to the north side. Patrick gonna see if he can get through the midline. Looks like there's just a nice convenient path over here on the side. Okay, there's a Saria across kind of an interesting central lake. No fairy spell yet, so won't be able to cross, but it is the good side for life spell. Nimbus is going to check all these caves in the north, looking for item caves, not finding them. There's going to be the drop side of Fairy Cave. And we do have Random Life on, so we're going to see pretty shortly here. Yeah, 41 at Magic 1. Wow, that is cheap at Magic 1. I wouldn't be surprised if this would go down for quite some time. But no check quite yet to see how much it's recovering. Nimbus, meanwhile, taking levels as they go up to 214. Kind of an unusual distribution. Passing up on Magic 1, though, reasonably, no reason to take magic levels unless you actually have a spell you can cast. Got a rock block pointing off the map, so that's definitely going to be either a connector to another continent or an item cave. Definitely something to mark down in your tracker, keep a knowledge of in your head for when you do get the glove. And I missed the exact amount. It must have been some kind of a big P-bag, because, yeah, both Patrick and Angel Nimbus getting pretty good chunks of XP right away. Yeah, you can see definitely one of the characteristic things about vanilla, like that big dividing line of mountains. Patrick's just on the southern end of, Angel just on the northern end of. There's always at least some way through the line, potentially more than one way. Could see some caves or something. Patrick just found there's obviously a land route on the side, but could have some pass-throughs taking us through there. Obviously, we've already seen Saria, not gonna get us anywhere important. Angel Nimbus taking the long way out of this encounter, potentially just looking to kill some more enemies for experience. Here's gotta be Heart Container Cave Bouncy Cat. Very annoying in the dark. Missed the spell in Rauru here, but it's good enough for Patrick to go and take a look. He's got it marked as spell, understandable. Kind of a borderline thing, but you know, when you don't have glove, you don't want to risk a spell tower having a glove and you being completely screwed because you didn't pick it up. Also, just going through the town to collect hints is pretty valuable. I haven't found any hints yet. 3 hints in Rauru, or 3 potential hint locations. Would have been unfortunate for Patrick, though. He is going to have to up A at some point to re-explore the northern half of this map. No King's Tomb check for Patrick, but he is going to get some medicine. Always good to find before you need it, and opposed the other way around. Is the one town we haven't seen yet, though. And that bridge will be the way off. Now we get a King's Tomb check. Nothing. And it's going to be 3 or 6 is our last palace. So we've got 2, we've got 3 or 6, and then we've got 1 remaining palace that was not checked. But Patrick figures 3 or 6 is good enough. This is a thing that runners have been doing increasingly often, is just, if you're on a low gem count and you see a 3 or 6 early, just take it, because if it's 3, it's going to be one of the quick palaces. If it's 6, you're at least going to get a good chunk of XP out of it, which is the thing you needed at some point. And it is 3 for Patrick. Confirmation from those windows. And the only really big thing Angel Nimbus got from the north side of the west here that Patrick missed was the raft, but unfortunately for him, the raft is not the way off of the west, or at least we haven't seen it yet. Way off so far is that bridge, and unless there's like some weird path down here, probably that bridge is going to be our only way out. Patrick has decided that's enough, and does take the bridge and finds Vanilla Shuffle East. No boots, but he does have the flute, so that pass-through could actually lead somewhere useful. Wouldn't be surprised if he goes back to the west just to check and get the last spell and downstab. Yeah, that's what he's gonna do. Although, maybe not possible to cross that lake. Nimbus did get the trophy, so gonna be able to pick up his shield spell here. Pretty good thing to pick up given how awful the GPs have been recently. Okay, Death Mountain's got a candle. That's 1 Death Mountain item off the board. Makes you want to go into Death Mountain even less if you do find a second rock-blocked cave. So I think there's still 1 more, if both rock block caves are item caves, I think there's still 1 more item cave runners haven't found, if I'm keeping track correctly. And if it's anywhere, it's going to be down here where Angel Nimbus is looking now. Yep, finds a cave here. Finds the last palace. It's a great palace. Bagu's a good pickup. We haven't seen the far side of Saria. Pack 3 is still not looking great for Angel Nimbus. Both runners getting a 30 bag at the same time. But yeah, where's this last town? Absolutely could be on the other side of Bagu. And Patrick taking an up A. He still has a number of locations on the north side he hasn't checked. And that's where he's going to go now. He's going to pick up his raft and the rest of the stuff Nimbus has already found. Nimbus is going to keep looking and find the remainder of the towns. We'll probably have runners back in the east at approximately the same time. Trophy for Patrick so he can get shield if he wants. It's a little annoying, just the order of getting things to pick up the spell items immediately after you leave the town and up aid. But he'll be back there soon enough anyway. Yeah, we've already seen both ends of this fairy cave, so not going to be useful. See if Nimbus wants to take a crack at 3 or 6 here. Saying 2 gems to place, doing a 3 or 6 when you don't know which it is still a pretty reasonable call. Sides against it. In an ideal world, the fastest 2 palaces on average are going to be 3 and 1. And smart play from Patrick there. Intentionally didn't get that 1 up there. He knows that he doesn't really need it now, and if GP is really, really nasty later, he can eventually just pick that up before heading into GP and be able to smuggle an extra life in. Okay, unlinked fire, Angel Nimbus doesn't want it, but did they start with downstab? Is he not? Oh, I guess no jump or fairy yet, so downstab not gettable. Very sad. So it looks like nothing here on the west, unless there's this last cave here. I think this has got to be one of our item cubes. Okay, 700 bags are in the large pool. And at a certain point, here you gotta start taking magic levels for Angel Nimbus just in case you find a fairy spell and want to go and get downstab. Yeah. Okay, so this is going to be the last accessible item cave. There's 2 more caves that are rock blocked that are probably our last 2 item caves, unless there's like 1 more boots blocked item caves, and then one of the rock block caves is a continent connector. But Patrick going to do 2. Sort of a medium-sized palace on average. Not an unreasonable check. And again, you're here, might as well. Okay, boots for Angel Nimbus, really big pickup on the last item. At the very least, speeds up your pathing around the west. And like I said, there could still be another cave sort of hiding out. Its boots blocked, but even if it's not going to be quick access to the bridge and off this continent. And Patrick finds that P2 is incredibly quick, although this attack 3 kind of stinks. Takes a solid 8 or 9 hits 500 points from the boss, and a P bag is our reward. Let's see what size it is. It's the 700, so a triple level for Patrick here. Basically ideal. Gonna get 3 levels, including attack 4. We knew attack 3 was junk. Hopefully 4 gonna do better. And yeah, this was talking about with the boots. Angel Nimbus is able to just completely cruise across the bottom and start digging through this east. And Patrick gonna keep going in 3, looking for what's the item. No hints, no information about any of our palaces, so could be anything. And I don't know how much Angel Nimbus has practiced Vanilla Shuffle East. It's definitely a thing that if you haven't done practice on can really bite you. There's a lot of weird complexity, a lot of checks that are in places you wouldn't necessarily normally go. So it looks like the only possible way off is that pass-through cave that was where Durillion normally is. Oh no, never mind, Angel Nimbus got boots. So with Flute, he'll be able to access a ton of this east. There's one spot that's a bit tricky. It's just south of Angel Nimbus right now on that coast. And it's especially tricky in this particular roll because it looks like it rolled as a desert tile on the desert, but there is a check that's all the way down that coast that's normally hammer blocks. That would be an easy one to miss, and if that is the actual desert tile with the item, then gonna be huge. 700 points, enough for a life level, which gonna get Angel Nimbus out of his hole. And see how easily he can get 200 points. Not bad, not bad. Actually, just trying to farm out a level. Yeah, the boss wasn't too far into this P2, but the item is absolutely buried. Let's see our first town. It is Old Kasuto. Yeah, just take the magic level, right? Yeah. If not even gonna check the sign, whatever, he'll basically take anything at this point. He's already seen Unlinked Fire, which is about the worst you can get. Thunder's gonna be good, Fairy would be good, Reflect would be okay. And it is Thunder. Not necessarily required, but possibly required. And just generally convenient in GP. And P1. Okay, yeah. So say, if you're gonna pass up P2 at a potential P3, you gotta do P1. And Patrick just giving up on the item in P2. Sensible. And he's a little bit stumped here. I don't think it's going to be too long, though, for him to find that last section that has his last town and those boots. We haven't yet determined whether the boots are required, because again, you could take that pass-through. Angel Nimbus is going to check this coast item. Coast spot, nothing. But an easy one to miss. The fact that Angel Nimbus did remember that one is a sign that he's probably done some specific practice on Vanilla Shuffle East, because that's one of the easiest spots to miss. Especially when it's the same terrain as everything else. Because like in a normal Vanilla Seed, absolutely no one is going to end up there like, what are you even doing? Magic 3 Fairy, not even castable. 76 is the cost. Patrick gonna check the far side of Saria now that he knows Bagu, and I think that is gonna put him down to this last area that he hasn't checked yet. think there was another cave that led here, but this route should also work. It does not also work. He's got to find that pass-through that's going to take him to that section. And I really hope for his sake that he does, because even if it does turn out that that pass-through on the east does take you somewhere, you'd really rather have boots. But Angel Nimbus, I was gonna say, gonna be the first to boot his way down through the river devil, but still fighting stuff here. He maybe wants to try and get a level so he can actually cast Fairy. But with only 2 lives, gotta be careful, because there's some deadly enemies. Meanwhile, Patrick still looking for the last connection. He knows about where he's supposed to be. He just needs to find the cave that leads there. Unfortunately, these bats are not great for getting XP. He's going to need to find a teabag drop. Probably. There's 3 and 5. I'm trying to get an encounter on different terrain. Maybe it'd be a little bit better. Oh, no, grass is just road. Oh, Patrick didn't find those boots. He's back on the east. He hasn't checked all the way out to the east here, but not gonna find anything. None of the bridge shouts are like the double bridge on the west. They all won't go anywhere. Okay, so Nimbus does get his magic level, gets magic 4. Presumably that makes Fairy castable. It does. So he'll be able to go back into this one and actually make some progress. I guess we're going to see where that pass-through cave goes for Patrick. Presumably, right? If he was going to look around for the last item on the west, he would have continued doing it when we're coming back here to the east, so... This goes somewhere. We haven't seen any other pass-throughs on the middle segment of the east. So this got to lead down to the south. You're gonna be careful though. Only 1 life. Okay, life spell looks like it's vanilla effectiveness. Angel Nimbus taking an unfortunate death, gonna have to reset right before getting that item. I believe that was the item room version of that room. And he'll be back. Not too much time. Yeah, and that, as we thought, that connector cave does take you all the way down to the south section of the east. And he'll be able to dig around here for items. In theory, right, boots very easily, potentially not required. Patrick only needs to do 1 more palace, find a glove, and he could just go straight back east and start doing GP. Ooh, jump, very nice pickup. Not gonna get the basement, but I think Spell is castable. So he'll be able to get Jump Spell and 1 item. Especially with how nasty these GPs have been recently, Jump is a worthy pick. As Angel Nimbus back in that room he died in previously. That's Attack 4, not looking great either. Not terrible. 3 hits for the Mago, like 4 or 5 of the red iron knuckle. Okay. I mean, if it's going to be a P-bag, 700 points is a pretty good one. Definitely not what he's looking for, but... will probably contribute to a level somewhere along the line here. Hey. New Casino area has a cave that leads to it, but not going to be this one. This is going to have an item for Patrick. And as far as P1s go, this has been kind of an annoying one for Angel Nimbus. Had to grind out to get Fairy to clear a Fairy or Glove Room early. Took a bad death. Let's finally find Horsehead. So not a huge number of rooms, about middling for a P1. And for sure going to get him a double level here. Even with only 30 points from the boss himself. Going to pass up the double level and go with Attack 5 instead. I like it. Attack 4 was kind of crappy. Attack 5 is a good level as far as attack scaling. And especially when your previous level rolls down, getting this is almost certainly a pretty substantial increase in damage. Yeah, and Angel Nimbus, having placed that gem, going to go back west. Probably wants to do P2 and then just potentially go to GP? I don't know. GP without Glove is still just such a gigantic gamble. It in a normal seed is like well over 99% to be required. In Max Rando, less likely, but still probably in the 95-96% range. Gems required was not updated. This is a 2-gemmer. And Nimbus about to place his second right now. Does get a double level, but not interested in it. Gonna go 6-4-6 for what is probably final levels of the seed. I'm thinking about magic, but no. Does decide to go with the attack level. And now he's gonna keep looking for the item in P3. It's not the glove. That's our big question at this point. Like partially, you know, how do you get around? How do you find the maze? Where are things? But the big question, where's the glove? And the cruelest place for it to be at this point is definitely going to be the new casino basement, because it's the full 7 containers, and neither of our runners have any containers. Or at least any additional containers. Starting containers still always for now. Have had some more thoughts about that recently. Please look forward to it. Absolutely rude set of enemies here for Patrick. Life 5 doing some work. An Angel Nimbus discovering the worst glove block room. The room that's glove blocked in 3 different directions. But Patrick did find the raft. I mean, I'm still a little bit surprised that Angel and Nimbus up aid coming out of P1. Like, you have to figure going through a River Devil is going to be your best chance of finding more locations for the glove. Like, this up aid kind of only makes sense if you're really hoping for glove to be in a palace, or you're gambling on doing GP without a glove. And Man, if you think glove is in a palace, you've got to figure it's not in this one at this point, because you've now seen 2 different glove block rooms, one of which glove blocks from multiple directions. And we know Patrick spent a bunch of time here too, but Angel Nimbus is kind of giving it all back, whereas Patrick has found his way into the maze and found 1 item already. Gonna find the second one probably pretty shortly. He's about half done exploring. No boots, gonna be very unfortunate here. This is a layout that's pretty boot friendly. But does find the second item without too much trouble, and it's a second container. So we're rapidly approaching basement territory, and if the glove is in the basement, that's going to be... I don't want to say the killing blow for Patrick, but it's going to be absolutely huge. So as far as the eastern item goes, Patrick hasn't found a water tile, but also can't get it. Still looking for Risen P-Bag Cave, and a 7th container would enable the basement. And other than that, we've still got, we don't know where Death Mountain is, but we know only one of the items, like, one of the items is a candle, and also they don't have the glove, so the chances of progression there being there are very low. So, could be glove in a palace, and if it's glove in a palace, the entire idea of 2 gems goes right out the window. We're going to be full clear in most of the seed. That's P5, you really don't want to check that one. And Patrick going to check Valley of Death. Unfortunately, all these pass-through encounters do remain pass-throughs. In Vanilla Shuffle, whether a given encounter is a pass-through or not is based on whether the vanilla tile is a pass-through. So any location that can be a pass-through will continue to be a pass-through. As long as it's shuffled into a location that is itself a pass-through. There are certain things that can't be passed through, like the desert tile, for reasons, is not allowed to be a pass-through. Alright, Angel Nimbus does get down stab. That's a potential reason to go back west. That does make sense. Down stab is good. P5 magic card, Granny hides the glove. I mean, it's on the list of possibilities. So Patrick makes his way all the way through the Valley of Death, gets this spell, and it's Thunder. So a worthy trip, I think. And a hint that the hammer is in the east. That's a good one, because we know that there's 2 item caves, or 2 caves that are at least one of which is guaranteed to be an item cave. One is probably an item cave. But there's 2 of them hanging out on the west. So a hammer would enable those, as well as Spec Rock that has a 50% chance to not be a candle. 62 for Thunder, very castable. But man, if you're Patrick, you gotta feel really weird right now. There's still 3 caves outstanding in the west for him. He didn't end up finding those boots, so he doesn't have any way to get to sort of the middle section of the east here. And so he's gotta be thinking, you know, where in the world is this glove? Where are all these caves, right? I've got hints, I've got information about... He knows the boots are in the west, he knows that the hammer is in the east, but just no way to get to any of them. As far as he's concerned, right, those boots are probably hammer blocked at this point. He knows the hammer is in the east, but yet not going to be able to check the hidden Kasuto spot with no hammer. So he's up A-ing, and I mean, he could go to hunt palaces at this point. Hunting palaces unlikely to give him progression, but could be where the glove is. Pretty likely at this point, so not a terrible idea as long as you're making good checks for the glove. I think what he's going to do here is just do a second loop entirely around the west, being like, where is this stupid thing I missed? Fortunately for him, if he does that, he's going to find his boots. Unfortunately for him, those boots are not going to be what he needs to find the glove. So Angel Nimbus did take that pass-through cave instead of going through the River Devil. Either way, he has made his way to the south, going to get his jump spell, going to get his up stab, going to get Thunder Spell, all the things Patrick just got done getting. So Angel Nimbus has the Palace advantage, Patrick has the Overworld Exploration advantage, but nothing really to show for it aside from some hints. And especially no boots. Though I think this pass through cave is going to take him in the right direction. Don't remember. Yeah, he knows boots were on the west, but Patrick also has seen 2 rock block caves in the west, and the suspicion at this point is that they're both item caves, and so from his perspective, it could be hammer in the east gets you boots in the west, sort of chain reaction unlocks the seed, but I think he might have actually already checked every location in the east he can at this point. And so progression really has to be somewhere out in the open. And yeah, this is the way Patrick needed to go. I'm not sure this is the same way Angel Nimbus took to get here, because this way required jump or fairy, neither of which Angel Nimbus had when he got here, but it doesn't matter. He got where he needs to go. He's going to have those boots soon, and that's going to take him probably to the center part of the east and to P1, although P1 going to be a quick palace, but not a valuable palace, especially now that he has the hint that there is just a 700-point P-bag hanging out there. But still, P1 is a quick palace to clear, and that's what he's going to be looking for. And at this point, that hammer in the east has to be either on... It's got to be on Water Tile or Granny's basement. Because we've checked pretty much everything else. I think there's a strong likelihood that the new Kasuto hammer block location is in fact Risen P-Bag Cave, because we haven't found it yet. We've searched pretty much everything. Yeah, Spell Tower was checked. I think it was checked. Both runners were in New Kasuto with the spell. I would be kind of surprised if neither of them checked it. Neither of them marked it off on their tracker. But how do you not check New Kasuto when you have the spell? I don't know. The spell is 71 to cast. They're both well in castable territory. I gotta say, I didn't actually check that they checked it, but our runners would be absolutely crazy not to check it. Well, I guess when both runners went into New Kasuto, they only had 4 containers. That's true. Patrick does have the 6 containers, but he didn't have them when he went in. So I guess no one's checked Spell. No one checked Spell Tower. And if I had to take a guess here, that's where Patrick's headed. And so he's not going to find his boots. He knows he's not going to find his boots. He's looking for hammer. Or, I mean, just glove, right? Like, glove's still in the back of everyone's minds. Or potentially in the front. Yep. Good check by Patrick. Got a refill on magic before he goes out there. 71 at Magic 5 is a really high spell cost. Alright, so 39-30 here. We're going to get our first check of the spell tower that both runners have been so close to. Heyo! That's a really good one. So now Patrick's going to say, well, forget the boots, forget the hammer. I'm just going to find a palace that I can clear. He knows P3 or 6 is going to be here in the west, so he's going to do that. Go straight to GP and just start jamming. Didn't get Fairy Spell as a result of not having those boots. That could hurt him in GP, but at this point you got to figure, you know, it's 40 minutes into a 2-gemmer. You haven't even touched GP yet. You got to put your foot on the gas and go. Don't remember exactly where 3 or 6 was. I guess we know it's P3 for sure, but... Has he actually seen where GP is yet? That might also be a thing that he's looking for here. He has to have, right? Like, he'd spent so much time searching this west. West, a little bit complicated to navigate, so I'm going to trust Patrick's knowledge of where he needs to go a little better than my own. But I think this is the way to GP. Alright, Angel Nimbus now has Thunder Spell. Okay. This actually, I think Patrick is on that path that leads to the boots. I thought he would just jam and go mode this. No, okay, this is just a way down to 3 or 6. Okay, it is. This makes sense. I did not recognize this. We'll see where Angel Nimbus wants to go. He sort of finished most of that loop on the east. Didn't end up finding his glove. He does have Spell, but didn't end up finding either container that Patrick found. That could push him into palaces, looking for items there. Hoping for the glove, hoping, you know, either I'm going to get the glove or I'm going to get a magic container. Also potentially just, like, gaining a magic level is not out of the question. Oh man, he's looking in GP with no glove. Here we go, 43 minutes. The gambling has begun from Angel Nimbus. I don't hate it, it's not a crazy idea. But I also wouldn't be surprised if we're going to see a lot of glove blocks pretty quickly here. But who knows, right? We saw a fork right away. That's what you're looking for if you want to gamble. The palace has to, all the rooms in the palace have to be somewhere. It has to put them somewhere. So until you've seen a fork, you can't have Dark Link because there has to be somewhere for it to put the rest of the palaces. But now that we've seen a fork, Dark Link could be any room, although obviously not when you're traveling left. So, any room could be Dark Link for Angel Nimbus, and it could be 30 rooms from now. Absolutely no idea, but there's our first glove block. Still a left at the start and a left from here available to him. Slightly harder without the glove, you gotta do these 3 black jumps, but pretty easily executable. And absolutely 0 health after that hit. And a second glove block. And I think once you commit, you have to check all of the available paths. This is what I was talking about earlier. Like, there are just so many glove block rooms in the room set for GP that, you know, while any room could be Dark Link, without the glove, it's way, way, way more likely that any given room is just going to be a glove blocked room and stop your progress. Speaking of progress, Patrick here about to place his second gem, and he does have the glove. Who needs boots? Who needs hammer? He's just going to go straight to GP and start exploring. Gonna end on 5, 5, 6, a very comfortable set of levels for him. Right turn was fairy blocked, so Patrick will be unable to take the path to the right. It's a hard fairy block room. Don't think you can clear that room, even with dash jump. I believe it is not quite far enough. You do need fairy for sure. So Patrick also going to be limited in his GP exploration, but unlike glove, which is like 95-ish% to be required, fairy probably only in the 10 to 20% range likely to be required in GP, so a reasonable expectation that this is a good play here for Patrick. So about 3 minutes behind coming into GP, but gonna come in with a glove instead of fairy, gonna be a solid advantage. Also worth noting, 2 lives, absolutely no joke in GP. Game overs are going to be a real factor here for our runners, and so is the glove, as Angel Nimbus determines that this GP is in fact fully glove blocked. Yep, so no fairy for Patrick. He is going to have to take this left instead, but plenty of opportunities later on. Angel Nimbus, meanwhile, deciding that he is going to check palaces looking for this glove. Good news is, he might find a magic container here. And if he does, that should unlock his ability to check Spell Tower. Bad news is, he definitely won't find a glove. Patrick already taken his first death fairly early and decides to just up A and reset his resources. Better, it's at least safer to reset now and try to come in with all of your lives available for the potentially deeper in parts of the dungeon rather than take a silly death early and then try to tough it out with 1 life. That bot is just being a bot. Like, you want to slow down and wait for him to jump out. Don't do that, Angel Nimbus. Worth noting that any invalid exit in a room in the palaces will take you outside. In older versions of the randomizer, they would sometimes take you to unexpected rooms that you weren't planning on going to. That is no longer the case. If you take an invalid exit, you will always be taken outside of the palace. And decides, forget that palace. I'm gonna go back and check more stuff in the east. Just a sound plan, because we know that there's a couple containers hanging out that he hasn't gotten. At least one is on the maze. He has the raft to go to the maze. That would get him a container that he needs, or he could just like sit down and find a good farm spot. Just try to grind out Magic 6. That's a less great strategy because it's not guaranteed to make the spell castable, I don't think. I don't actually know. I'm a little curious. Take a look at the spell cost table. So spell. Vanilla cost at 5 is 48, and at 6 it's 32. Okay, so spell is guaranteed to be castable at Magic 6 on 4 bars, but not at Magic 5. Yo, the current cost is 71. Did some quick math. 72 is the maximum possible cost for Magic for spell at Magic 5. So, a little bit unfortunate. But yeah, either a Magic level or a single container is going to be enough for him to be able to do spell power. Patrick just chugging along in this very linear left path. I have to be careful. No fairy spell here to make it across the gap easy. He does have jump, so he's going to use that instead. But these vertical bubbles going to slightly interfere with that plan, as well as the enemies. The classic enemy on the far side of the room taking index 0 so that the King Bot doesn't kill him. If any enemy is going to survive the King Bot despawn, it's usually the leftmost enemy on the room. Little bit complicated how that works, but thing you have to be aware of. If you kill King Bot on the left, you're basically guaranteed not to have any more enemies in the room. If you kill him on the right, you gotta be careful with the leftmost enemy. Patrick very safely taking this Bago Bago room. Don't want to take a trip into the lava. Very rude. There's a lot of very rude vertical bot rooms. And still just a massive linear path when you go left at the start. No forks whatsoever. Ooh, and this is going to be tricky. Another 3-block jump room. No magic to cast jump, and Patrick is going to go back to the start. He going to do a reattempt on that long path, or is he going to go look for Fairy Spell? He's going to give it another shot. And man, if Angel Nimbus does find the glove and just jams right with his Fairy Spell, if that is the way that it is, it's gonna play. I mean, it's gonna be the end of the race. Okay, Angel Nimbus finding a glove block. Good news that a lot of these palaces have glove blocks for him. It's gonna save him some time. You know, 100%ing these palaces. No need to look for the item in a palace that is glove blocked. And welcome Raiders to an absolute mess of a seed here. Patrick missed the boots, and the West just didn't find them. And that prevented him from getting the Fairy Spell. It did allow him to find enough magic containers to be able to cast the spell and get his glove out of Spell Tower. But it means that here in GP, he is stuck going on this absolutely miserable path to the left instead of going to a path on the right that's fairy blocked. But Angel Nimbus has already been in there. Right beyond that fairy block is a glove block. And so Patrick potentially blocked on Fairy Spell, potentially blocked just on how absurd the combat has been in this GP. Nimbus digging out palaces that we know don't contain the Fairy Spell, but he needs other containers. 71 at Magic 5. Did some math. One less than the maximum possible amount it can cost. Vanilla value 48. So 72 would be the highest possible cost. And getting a cost that rare is high is pretty rare. He would be guaranteed at Magic 6 if Angel Nimbus ground up to it. Would be guaranteed to be able to cast a spell. Because the level 6 cost for spell is 32, so 48 would be the highest it could go, which is well within castable range, would be 3 bars. But there's just that big jump from 48 down to 32 in the vanilla cost range. Doing spell castability math is a bit of a fun one, especially the Thunder Spell. The Thunder Spell has a kind of a wild curve, kind of a lot of possibilities. It tends to be pretty cheap in Randomizer just because you get so many levels for it to potentially roll down, and 120 is the base cost at Magic 1 through 6. And since it can roll up to minus 50%, usually it takes the opportunity and rolls down somewhere before you get too nasty. But it is possible that Thunder can still be uncastable on a decent number of bars. And hold the phone, Fairy Spell not required. Patrick makes his way through the nasty combat, finds a Dark Link, and that is almost certainly going to be it. Patrick has 5 bars of health left on this life. Does not have one in reserve, but shouldn't be a problem on Dark Link. And with this win, that is going to make Patrick the winner of this best of 3, moving on in the tournament. Get your GGs in chat. Official race time, 56 minutes, 14 seconds. Comes in under the 1 minute, a 1 hour bar. And Angel Nimbus stopping just short. I thought we were gonna see. Okay, Patrick is gonna come by in a sec. Angel Nimbus has forfeited. We'll see if he wants to come by as well. And we've got Patrick here. GG, man, that was an interesting one.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, that was a really strange one with the West layout. Just threw me for a complete loop.
Yeah, the big thing that was weird early is you did not find the boots. The boots were accessible from the start in the West, and you just didn't find the way to get to them. And so Angel Nimbus had an advantage early on. The boots led to P1. They led to the Fairy Spell. But you both didn't have the magic for. I'll pull Nimbus and talk about it. Hey, Angel Nimbus, GG.
Hey, what's up, guys? GG.
Yeah, good game to you too.
I was talking to Patrick. The big difference early, you found the boot and Patrick didn't. And Fairy Spell ended up being potentially required in GP. We were thinking Angel Nimbus went in with Fairy Spell and no glove. Patrick went in with glove and no Fairy Spell. But left turned out to be the way. The big weirdness in that seed, both of you hit Nukasudo with fairly decent magic levels, but only 4 containers, and 71, I did the math, one less than the maximum amount spell can cost. And
Is that where the glove was?
that was the glove in Spell Tower. Either an extra container or an extra level would guarantee making it castable for you. But Patrick had found 2 containers. There was one in Maze Island, and I forget where the other one was.
I think they were both in Maze Island.
They could have both been in Maze Island. I didn't remember exactly. But yeah, Maze Island was raft accessible just from the south of the east there. But yeah, that ended up being the difference. We were hoping, because Patrick had some extra hints. Patrick knew boots were in the west. He knew hammer was in the east. And so we were hoping to get some fun chain reaction stuff. We had to go back to those hammer block caves in the west. There was a lot of hammer block stuff laying around, but Spell Tower ended up just being the key to the seed.
Yeah, I was kind of expecting something like that too. I thought the boots were going to be hammerlocked, but I knew there was a cave I hadn't found, and I somehow missed Mito on my first search too. So yeah, my west exploration was just bad today. But yeah, I expected kind of like hammer to lead to boots, to lead to the glove on the water tile or something like that. Yeah, just was fortunate to find the glove at the where I expected I'd find the hammer.
Yeah, in the end, you not having the boot sort of funneled you into the few remaining places, and that ended up helping you.
Yeah, I got real lucky. There was a lot in GP that fairy was either required or really helpful for. It's not easy to go through.
Yeah, I mean, there was still with how nasty that GP was, there was still the possibility, for anyone to catch up, because we didn't know how much longer it was going to be. We didn't know if that left at the start was even, it could have been the right with the fairy. Absolutely still. So things just not breaking Angel Nimbus's way this one.
Yeah, I thought the glove was going to be hammer blocked. And I just started digging palaces for an item, hoping I'd get either hammer or the glove, but it just didn't turn out that way.
Yeah, we had
It's a shame,
that. Yeah, Patrick found that hint that the hammer was on the east, but still no idea where it was. Could have been basement or water tile. We also didn't find Risen Bag Cave. I think that might have been what was under New Katsudo Woods.
Yeah, I was expecting. Yeah, I'd kind of forgotten about the middle of the east, and I could have gotten up there with the flute. I was probably going to go there after New Katsudo, but yeah, I was halfway expecting it to be like that wood tile that would be the hammer for fairy or something of that nature. Yeah, it's a kind of a shame that both of our races came down to a missing glove.
Yeah, the glove hunt was not fun. As soon as I saw that, I was like, man, wanted something straightforward where we just plow through the sea and see who gets done first. It was GG. Good game, Patrick. Congratulations on the win.
Thanks. Good game to you too. I'll see you around. I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. Thanks, Elendar. Restream it. Good game again.
All right. Once again, thank you to our runners, BK Patrick, and Angel Nimbus for the show they put on today. And of course, thank you to our commentator, Elendar, for stepping in and solo commenting this one. We're going to try to get as many races as we can from the Max Rando Tournament. Plus, of course, we've got other tournaments from the other Zelda games going on as we speak. Other than that, thank you everybody for watching, and we will see you next time.